Charles Augustus Lindbergh by Kaylee
and Kyleigh Andries.
Charles Augustus Lindbergh was born on February 4, 1902 in Detroit, Michigan.
In 1929, he married Anne Morrow, the daughter of U.S. Ambassador to Mexico, Dwight D. Morrow.
Charles and Anne had 4 children: Charles Jr., Reese, Anne, and John Lindbergh.
Charles first began flying in 1919 as an airmail pilot, a job he kept for 8 years prior to his transatlantic flight.
In early 1927, a man named Raymond Ortigue offered a $25,000 prize for the first man to make a non-stop transatlantic flight from New York, New York to Paris, France.
This 3,600-mile transatlantic flight had challenged aviators for decades. Out of many prior attempts, 4 men were known to be dead, 3 were seriously injured, and 2 had gone missing.
Although the challenge was great, Charles Lindbergh decided to attempt the dangerous flight.
He found 8 St. Louis businessmen to fund his flight,
and used Ryan Aeronautical Company to build his single-engine plane,
which was then named the Spirit of St. Louis.
The small plane's frame was made of spruce, with aluminum covering the engine.
Nicknamed the Flying Gas Tank, the plane held 450 gallons of fuel for a single 223 horsepower engine.
With a wingspan of 45 feet and forward length of about 27 feet, the plane weighed 2,700 pounds in total.
Many newspapers called Lindbergh the Flying Fool because he used only a compass for navigation and refused to carry a parachute to save weight on his plane.
On May 20th, 1927, at 7:52 a.m., Lindbergh took off from Roosevelt Field, New York, barely clearing the runway.
Not only did he have to fly solo for 33.5 hours, he also faced dangers such as fog, darkness, thunderstorms, ice, and sleep-deprived mirages.
On May 21st at 5:22 p.m., Lindbergh landed at Le Bourget Field in Paris, France. His safe landing was internationally celebrated.
Upon his return to America, a New York-sized parade was held in his honor.
The first man to complete a solo, non-stop transatlantic flight was someone to be revered.
On March 1st, 1932, tragedy struck the Lindbergh family.
Charles Jr., the Lindbergh's firstborn son, was stolen from his crib through the window in his nursery at 20 months old.
After searching for 11 days, the baby's body was discovered on March 12th.
It took the FBI over 2 years of investigating to convict a suspect.
In 1936, Bruno Richard Hauptmann was tried and executed for the kidnapping and murder of the Lindbergh's baby.
In 1935, Charles and his wife moved to England, where Charles worked with Alexis Carrel on a perfusion pump to keep organs alive outside the body.
Later, the Lindberghs moved to France, where shortly after, war broke out.
Lindbergh was initially against the war, and in 1939, he and his family moved back to the United States, where he made anti-war speeches.
Even though Charles was initially against the war, when America became involved, he joined the United States Air Force, where he flew combat missions in the Pacific.
In 1953, Lindbergh published a biography and titled it after his famous airplane, the Spirit of St. Louis.
Charles Lindbergh passed away on August 26, 1974, and is buried in Maui, Hawaii.
What kind of man would live where there is no daring? I do not believe in taking foolish chances, but nothing can be accomplished without taking any chance at all. Charles Augustus Lindbergh.